Hi everyone, I'm Rick Ufford Chase, the mayor of Newport, Vermont, and this is Newport Notes with Rick, where I come in a couple of times a month and try to update folks in the community about the projects that we are managing. The city council, the city staff, and myself as mayor are managing on your behalf. Try and keep everybody up to date. So grateful, as always, to NEK-TV for making this possible. I want to tell you all a little bit this morning about the work that's been going on since June with the task force on housing insecurity, public encampments, and community safety. You'll remember that we created this task force in order to try and really wrestle with the questions about how to be supportive of folks who are without a place to stay in the community, and also to make sure that we make spaces, public spaces, feel accessible and open to everyone. That work over the months of June and July, the work of that task force really centered around, or kind of eventually coalesced around, three different questions that we were going to work on. The first was the creation of an ordinance that would give our police department and the officers who are enforcing public ordinances, would give them a way to consistently and fairly enforce rules regarding public encampments. It took us nearly 3 months, starting in July, to complete that document. Huge kudos go out to Chief Travis Bingham and the co-director of the United Christian Academy, who was a member of the task force, Travis Gaines. The two of them were the primary crafters. We started with looking at other cities and what they had done on their own ordinances, and then we took that document and changed it quite a bit. I want to also give a shout out to Pam Lads and Ann Chiarello, who came to every single one of the meetings where we worked on that set of questions, raising significant concerns and questions about making sure that we're creating a policy that is enforced fairly and does not inappropriately target folks who are without a place to stay. I will say that while they were not fully satisfied with the answer we came to, I believe that the final ordinance that we came to was far stronger because of their participation, and I'm grateful for it. I'm also grateful to Adam Ortiz, who went out of his way to make sure that there were folks who were without homes themselves, who came to a number of the meetings to offer their own ideas and thoughts about what was appropriate in that document. City Council passed that ordinance on the recommendation of the task force. I believe it was 3 weeks ago now. And so we've kind of put that conversation to bed. We're going to give it a try and see how the police do with that as a guideline. It makes clear that the purpose of this ordinance is not to criminalize the act of being without a home, and that we lead in every possible way with compassion. And there's only an enforcement strategy in it, a penalty or a punitive strategy in it, insofar as someone refuses to move when we need them to move for either public safety or common public use concerns. So that project is largely finished now, thanks to the work of the members on that task force, and we're deeply grateful. There were two other topics that became obvious that we needed to really wrestle with. One was how we could try and stand up some kind of a winter shelter, a warming shelter for this coming winter that would offer people who have nowhere else to go a safe place that would be warm and get folks off the street and inside where they can be both comfortable and safe. And then a second conversation about a longer-term strategy for what it would be like to try and create some kind of a congregate care facility. That's what I've heard the governor call it, congregate care, meaning a place where we can gather folks together who don't have anywhere else to be and surround them with the social services that a variety of different agencies in this community are prepared to offer to help them get on their feet again. That conversation is clearly one that is going to take significantly more time. Those answers do not happen overnight, and we don't have an immediate path forward. So we've agreed that we will take up that set of questions while and as soon as we have hopefully come up with an answer to the questions about immediate care for folks who are without a place to stay for this coming winter. And that's where I really want to share my most exciting news this morning. As a result of those task force meetings, a small group kind of coalesced and invited some other people into the conversation. And we really turned to the question of how we could create an all-volunteer effort that would create a safe space for people where they could call any time of the day or night to ask for a place to stay. And there would be a group of volunteers who would step forward and offer shelter in a central location, and a hot meal, maybe the chance to take a shower if we can work out an appropriate shower facility, give people a place to stay, from roughly 5 in the afternoon until 8 o'clock the next morning, and just give people a place to be at night that's safe and comfortable. That group has now been meeting weekly for about the last 6 weeks. And there are a number of things that have happened that I just find totally thrilling. I think this is the moment that the community has been waiting for to try and step up and create a response together. The most important thing that's taken place is that the folks from Joshua House have stepped forward, particularly Brenda Lowther and Tim Daly, who are both on the board of Joshua House. This is an organization that's been around many, many years. They have provided financial support to folks who are at risk, help with fixing a car, doing a car repair, or getting people off the street and getting them shelter in a motel, or helping with a utility bill. They've been doing this work for decades, and they've raised many, many dollars over the years and have given away well over $100,000 over the years that they've been in existence. It's always been Brenda Lowther's dream that we might also have a warming shelter where folks could go. And so when they learned that we were invested in this conversation, Joshua House immediately stepped forward as a nonprofit organization and agreed to become the fiscal sponsor of this project and to do the necessary fundraising to galvanize the community to help us prop up a short-term solution for the next 6 months from now through the end of April so that people would have a place to be. So those groups that group is continuing to meet every Thursday afternoon. There are a number of people from the state and from NECA and Journey to Recovery and Front Porch who are at that table with us, and they have all agreed to lend their own support as we try and put the pieces in place to support folks for the foreseeable future in the winter. We do have a potential location. Many of you will know about the old Bayview Motel that sits up on Pleasant Street looking out over the South Bay, kind of up behind Sacred Heart Church, as Pleasant turns and goes over the hill and heads off to Coventry. For the last 20 years or so, that property has been known as Richard's Hunting Lodge, and a group of people that I am close to got together and formed a small LLC, a small business, a year ago called Ragamuffin Builders LLC, and bought that property with the purpose of trying to take each of the apartments and the single rooms in that building down to the studs and rebuild it as dignified housing for folks. So we've started on that project. I put many of my weekends in with a hammer, and there are 4 of us who are the primary partners in that project. And we've been having a conversation with Joshua House about whether we can make it useful or make it possible for the old restaurant that was most recently the Titanic, the Thai restaurant in that building, to become the location for the warming shelter for this winter. So we're in the process of trying to work that out. We've met with the state fire marshal. We're talking with some folks at NECA about some of the logistics on this. And I don't have a final answer, but I'm confident now that the way appears to be opening, as my Quaker wife would say. The path appears to be kind of opening up before us to use that location as the primary place to provide shelter for folks this winter. So I expect that we will have some of those agreements in place over the next week, and we're working now on insurance questions and making sure we're fully compliant with all the safety regulations. But here's where the community comes in. If you would like to be a part of this project, there is room for any volunteer who would like to come and be a part of this with us. The first step is going to be to take Saturdays over the next month or so and actually clean out and renovate that site, that old restaurant facility, and make it habitable and pretty it up, make it actually a safe and useful and also a comfortable place to stay for folks who need a place. So if you would like to be involved in the volunteer effort to try and bring that portion of the property back to life, you can reach out to me. My number is 845-608-4056. And I respond most easily and quickly to texts. So if you would like to reach out and be a part of this kind of renovation project that we will be doing with volunteers, please call me at that number, which I'll ask Kelby to put on the screen so that you can read it and write it down. Just send me a text and let me know what your interest is and what your skill sets are, and we'll try to plug you in to be a part of it. Following that, as the site actually comes together, our hope is that we could actually move quickly enough to open this site by roughly Thanksgiving weekend toward the end of November. And at that point, it will become a volunteer hospitality effort. I'm not sure yet who will be coordinating that effort, but we hope to find a volunteer or two who will coordinate every day so that they will know who the volunteers on call are, so that if someone needs a place, whether it's during the day they know they need a place that night, or if it's 10 o'clock at night and someone comes across someone who really needs to get off the street, there will be a number that that person can call. And we will activate a volunteer phone tree so that someone can go and open the facility, provide what those folks need and a hot meal to get them off the street that night, and then on to whatever they need to do the next day. So we hope to manage all of that with a lot of volunteer support. And if you would like to be one of those volunteers, we'll be asking our volunteers to go through a background check and to do some training to make sure that you have some readiness if there are special situations that arrive or unique circumstances that take place. And we'll be looking for volunteers who are willing to spend a night, maybe once a month or twice a month, at the shelter if necessary, or to be on call if we start the evening with no one, but just to be on call in case we get a call during the night. I'm thrilled with the amount of response we've gotten to this. In addition to Joshua House, we have probably half a dozen churches at this point that have expressed a lot of interest in trying to be supportive. We're already raising money to cover the cost of the modest renovations that will be necessary to make the space habitable, and to help us cover the cost of utilities and insurance through the winter. And if you'd like to donate to this, please reach out and let me know, or reach out directly to Joshua House. And you can write a check to Joshua House with the words warming shelter in the memo line, and be a part of this, either by helping to finance the operation or to help actually staff it as a volunteer. This is what I believe this community is all about. My family's been here for generations, and I can remember many times over the years when my grandparents and my aunts and uncles and my own folks have stepped up to support neighbors in moments of need, whether it's because there's been a fire and they've become homeless, or they just are, they've lost a job or missed a paycheck. It's always been about making sure that folks have the support they need. And so we are grateful to everyone in the community, the churches, Joshua House folks, the local service agencies, and folks in the just regular community residents who have been excited about trying to make this particular thing happen. So let us know. Reach out to me again, 845-608-4056 by text if you would like to be a part of it. I'll be back in the next couple of weeks to catch you up on city finance issues. I'll just tell you now that we received our clean audit from the independent auditor for the city just early this week. I got the paper versions of that today. I'm thrilled that we have that done in the middle of October, and it will inform our budgeting process as we look toward the fiscal year 26-27. And we'll be coming back to you to report in as well about the last two of the major loans that we were given permission to take from Passumpsic Bank. We're working right now with the bank and the attorneys to work out the details. And I expect that our city council will take action to execute those two loans on Monday night, the 3rd of November. That's it for this week from Newport Notes with Rick. Let me know if you'd like to be a part of any of what we've been talking about. Thanks so much.